All right, Richmond's best 23. Let's get into it, guys. This is for the 2026 season, assuming that everyone is healthy. Okay. I've got my app here. If you guys want to use it, become a member of my YouTube channel, and you'll see a video that gives you the password and everything like that. I'll be updating it every now and then. But starting off at fullback, I've gone with Miller. Okay, pick 63s, 70 games. Not the most established players. Obviously, going to be filling in for Young that you guys have lost to West Coast in the off season. Okay. Next up, you got Gibcus, another early draft pick. Has been injured a fair bit. He's played for 21 games. Pick 9 in the 2021 national draft. Hasn't had the greatest run with injury. You can see here, scroll that down so you can see a bit better. Kind of one of the more underperforming picks of that draft as of now. You can see a few guys that were taken after him have played a fair few more games. Only one that really hasn't is Tunstall from Brizzy. That's more or less due to injury. But yeah, you can see that you could have gone Wilmot in that instance, but you know, hindsight's 2020. So we'll got Miller, Gibcus, and Broad. Obviously on the tail end of his career, 32. Okay, so that's the starting backline, in my opinion, for Richmond. We'll bring up what we're looking at here. As far as games played, you got two guys in their prime ages, between 22 and 29. Obviously, Gibcus is the younger of the two, and then you got an elder statesman in Broad. He's out of contract at the end of this year. Okay, but I think that's a good starting baseline. Obviously, you're going to start working in youth. Richmond are at a stage in their development where they need to focus more on getting games into youth than really pushing for a top 8 spot at the moment, which is fine. I'll just see. I didn't think Broad had an All-Australian. No, he hasn't yet. Okay, that's all right. Vlosten is going to be holding down centre half back in this instance. He's actually on the smaller side. He's not really a key defender player, but he obviously reads the ball better than most. One of the best pickups from his draft range, 2012 national draft here. As you can see, there's only a handful of players left with that, and he's right up there with him. That's along with Whitfield, Stringer. He got Viney, Core, and Grundy. Absolute awesome pick for Richmond. He's been killing it for Richmond for many years now. A halfback flanker, gone with Banks. Again, only 43 games, 187 centimetres. He's even bigger than Vlosten. They're about the same size, I apologise. So, bit of dash between the two of them. Read the ball well. I think that's going to... And short is obviously... same deal again. You haven't really got too many key pillars back here at the moment, but that's the starting back line I've gone with for Richmond. We'll have a quick look at how they're looking as far as the makeup. So, a couple in the older bracket in Vlosten and Broad, 26 to 29 years old in Miller and Short, and then a 22-year-old to 25 Banks and Gibcus. So you got your youth as well. Kind of nice even blend. As far as the contract cliff goes, 4 of those players in your starting lineup are out of contract at the end of the year. Obviously, Vlosten and Broad probably going to be on 1-year prove-it deals from here on out until the end of their career, whenever they decide to hang up the boots. Gibcus is going to want to get a full season together, stay healthy. He's obviously shown a lot of promise. Very good player when on the park, but just can't get out there often enough. And Miller, well, he's building his career. He's got 26 years of age, 70 games. Bit more developing to him, bit more of an opportunity with Young gone. I think he could be good. All right, so we'll move on up the field. Start looking at the midfield. Who we've got here. I've got Trezezy as the winger, mid-season pick. He's played pretty much a full season last season, showed some promise. I think he's one of the few players. He's one of the few players that's actually still carrying on with that 2023 mid-season draft. Hansen at North is the other one, with Jack Buller at Collingwood. I believe he's the one that got traded from Sydney from memory. Anyway, keep moving. Other winger, Trainer. Trainer could go back, obviously. I've just brought him further up the field to fit in these other guys in the back line. Trainer did play a fair bit in the back. I thought about throwing him in the back pocket, but I thought that's a more sturdier back line. I thought Trainer can obviously mark. He's got a decent kick. Whether he's got the running capacity or not might be up for debate. He's still young. Obviously, it's going to be his second year. He played, what did he play? 21 games last year. Okay, so he had pretty much a full season. I think he'd be, dare say, be one of the more... he's played almost as most out of his entire draft class that Richmond killed it in. He's the best performing out of those Richmond players. Obviously, Levi Ashcroft got a few extra bonus games with the finals. But yeah, definitely a great pickup for Richmond last year. All right, so in the engine room, we've got Nankervis, an older ruckman. He's 31 years of age. He's contracted this year. He's out of contract, so he'll probably be on 1 or 2 years to go. Later on, I'll go through the depth chart, show you how many Richmond players fall in that 200 centimetre plus bracket, because they'll be the next guy up, effectively, when Nankervis decides to retire. Prestia, I've gone the experience route again, 33. He's got to be a year. A good chance this is his last season. Obviously, superstar, been at it for 15 years in the league. One of the few guys left from the 2010 draft. Both Richmond players, actually. I know Tom Lynch and Dion were both from Gold Coast, weren't they? So only a few players left from that era. They were both Gold Coast. Nank, you've obviously got from Sydney. Okay. Next on the queue is Taranto, who they've picked up from GWS. Superstar. He's multiple. I think he's a few All-Australians in there. No, he hasn't. So, very consistent player. He's also not quite at the tail end of his draft, but he's going to be on the back nine heading on out. So you're going to want to start bringing in these young kids to replace these guys. And Hopper as well, same deal. I think they were even in the same draft class, 2015. Okay, so Hopper's a year earlier. Okay. Again, one of the better players from that pick. So you got some high-end talent there. They're just getting on the older side. Let's have a look here. 7 of the players are out of contract at the moment. At the end of this year. That being the highlighted there, pretty much most of your backline and half of your midfield. Okay, the contracted players you got for another few years locked in is Hopper and Taranto. They're through to 2029, so that gives you another 3 years. That'll take Hopper to 31, and Taranto to 30. So they'll probably get another 2 or 3 year contract after that, you would think. Okay. Draft investment, we've gone through a few of the picks already, so they're all top 10 draft picks in their respective classes. Got great value out of these two players, Broad and Miller. They came in after pick 51. That's just unreal when you're getting starting players that far back. All these guys have been taken in the national draft, apart from Trezezi and Short, which you picked up in the rookie draft, and you got no father-sons, no academies yet. All right, so we'll go through it. We'll keep going. We'll move up to the half-forward line. All right, let's have a look. So centre half-forward, I've gone with Armstrong. It was either him or Jonty Fall. Much of a muchness. They're both at the same stage of their career. Armstrong got a lot of raps in the draft lead up to their draft, more than Fall. Fall was more considered a surprising pick at the time. But I've gone Armstrong. I think you just need to get games into him, let him start bulking up and establishing himself. In the forward line, Campbell as well. he's obviously a well-established player, another great rookie pick. He's played 43 games. He's only, 3 years into his career, age 20. Kicking nearly a goal and a half a game out of his 13 touches. I dare say he's by far the best player out of that pick, 43. The next best being Tyler Young, also a former Richmond player who played 8 games less. All right. Now, and I've gone Sam Lawler, obviously pick 1 of last year's class. This guy will be going in, taking in Prestia or one of the other guys. More than likely Prestia. Prestia's the older option. So that will be the midfield as of 2027, I would imagine. Whether Phil Young kids start pushing further into it, I think Taranto and Hopper, they're probably there for another 2 years at least. Okay, now we'll go into the full forward line. Tom Lynch, again, another player who's on his last year or two, 33 years of age, 236 games. When he's not punching blokes out, can be a very good player. He obviously is going to get frustrated with the lack of supply that Richmond are going to be providing him with the youthful team that they're going to be trying to bring in, inexperienced team. Really, this team needs to get a lot more out of Taranto, Prestia, and Hopper. Well, that whole 4, they're all established and they've all been in the league for 10 years, but you need to keep them all healthy all at the same time, which is going to be Uze's issue, I think, going forward. All right, so let's go forward pocket. I've gone with Rioli. Maurice, his father-son prospect. You guys got out of the 2020 draft. I dare say that's probably why he fell a bit. Still one of the better performing players. A lot of players taken before him haven't played as many games. Okay, and we'll go for the other forward pocket in Sam Grill. Okay, so first rookie brought in this year on the field for Richmond, in my opinion. That's the starting lineup, in my opinion. Get some games into him early. He's got a bit of electric pace. Have him and Rioli zipping around underneath Lynch and Armstrong. It's going to put him in good stead. Okay, next we'll get into the bench spots for Richmond, starting 23. Okay, so it's 23 now. I'm used to saying 22, but we've finally got rid of the sub rule. Maybe 10 years too late, but we got there eventually, thankfully. So we'll start lining up the bench for the starting team. Okay. Now, Tom Brown, again, 22. Oh, sorry, what I'll do beforehand, I want to show you the list makeup of that Richmond team before I start loading up your bench, just so you know where we're at as far as experience and youth. As you can see, you got a nice even blend. You got 18 players in the development stage of their career. That's these 5 here. You got another 4 players in the younger end of their prime years. Gibcus, Rioli, Banks. You really need to get some games into Gibcus, keep him healthy. You still got another 10 years worth of game time out of these guys. And then another 4 players still in their prime, but now moving towards the back end of that prime. They're going to basically be your elder leaders for these younger guys coming through in the next few years. And then you got these 5, pretty much a lot of the spine, as you can see, starting to move out. Okay, so when Lynch, Prestia, Nankervis, Floston, and Broad start moving out, this is where basically these are the kind of areas position you'd think Richmond would start looking at targeting, either bringing in free agents or drafting. But that's the areas of need where you're going to look at replacing players. Okay. Experience, you got 8 of those players played 150 games. So a few of those younger guys in the prime have still played 150, and you got 2 guys that have played less than 10. Good chunk of your teams are already playing, creeping up towards the 50 game mark as well. Okay. Nearly just over half, no, just less than half. What do we got? 18 players. So 7 of the 18 players, just less than half a year, top 10 picks. Richmond have been blessed with them. Quite a few picks late last few years. They've done very well with their rebuild strategy. And then this is pretty much second rounders here from 11 to 30. or end of first, start of second. Okay, so let's carry on. Let's start looking at the bench spots. So Brown, I've gone for first spot. As you can see, he's getting his 14 touches a game, 5 marks, not that many goals, 1.3 tackles. I think he's pretty much established into their best lineup as of last year. I've gone Sam Cumming. He was a early draft pick from this year. Adelaide's best, South Australia's best prospect from a lot of accounts. Some people had Dyson Sharp. But yeah, Cumming, a lot of potential here. He's going to start wanting to move in towards the middle. Your midfield could look something like, Lawler, Cumming, and even a Grill potentially, something like that. Yeah, that's just something that Richmond fans have got to look forward to. All right. Next up, I've got Ralph Smith, also pretty established at this point. 62 games. He's out of contract end of this year. They're going to want to sign him on. Plenty of run from him. Play, obviously, the wing, half forward area. I've gone Jonty Fall. It was either him or Armstrong in that centre half forward area. Much of a muchness, really. If you wanted a taller lineup, you could probably maybe push Grill back out to the bench and play both of them. But yeah, he showed a lot of promise. I think he even played more games than he did. He played double the games that Armstrong did. Where they're at in their development's much of a muchness. As you can see, the same height, same age, same contract status. 4 went 9 picks earlier, which was a surprise at the time during the draft. But that's just it's just what the draft pundits say. No one gets it right. It's just a guessing game. All right. So, and then finishing off the best 23 is Bolter. So Bolter's actually played a little bit of ruck at times somehow. Not Bolter. So I think Bolter will be in the backline when I don't know if his curfew runs into next year or not. He got a bit punchy over a piece of pizza last year. 26, he's still in the prime years of his footy career. Probably be replacing Broad before long. That is your starting 23. Let's reset that. Sorry, so you guys can see it. And we'll go through it and how it came to be, effectively. Okay, so as for your disposals, out of this group here, you're looking at 309 touches at an average of 13.4 per player. The league average is 347, so you're about 38 touches shy. So that's a good Nick Dacos game, effectively, shy of what the league average is. So you're obviously going to be. It's a development stage for this team. So you're probably wondering why I have included the 5 older dudes, because you're paying them. You may as well get the experience, and it's just going to lighten the load on the rest of the guys. You're not going to be pushing for top 8, you wouldn't have thought. If they do, all credit to them. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. Goals, 9.1 versus the league average of 12.5. These are obviously just based on averages of the starting team. Okay. Tackles, 43.4 versus 60. So you're 17 tackles shy. You want to start putting more pressure, especially your Lawler and Rioli. These are based on per game averages. Oh, you can see Rioli, he averages 3 tackles a game. Lawler, 2.4. If you wanted to bump them up, that'd be a bit better, I think, for them. Obviously, Grill and Cumming are going to register zeros as well, so you've got to take that into account. Okay. Marks, 81.0 is roughly the same as league average, 85.7. And hit-outs, you got Nate Curvis performed better than the league average. He's got 33. I assume they're all attributed to him. Yep. So 33 against a league average of 28.5. 7 players in the development stage, obviously a lot of midfielders and forwards. Younger prime years, you got your couple of bench spots, Rioli, Trezezy, Banks, and Gibcus. Older prime players, Taranto, Hopper, Short, Bolter, and Miller. And your more established players, more or less down the spine. These guys are a year or two left in them, you would think. Okay. The games is pretty much reflective of all that. The younger guys, the rookies, have played less than 10. Everyone else is in that 11 to 50 bracket. You got 9, which is 39% of your best 23 fall in that 11 to 50 games bracket. The league average is 19%. Okay. And then you got more 150 game players as well. So those are your two kind of that's the lion's share of your team is effectively in the 11 to 50 bracket or the 150 game plus bracket. Okay, they're both significantly higher than the league average. You only got one player in that 101 to 150 games. When did he come in? He came in the AFL 2017, so that was 8 years ago. That's about a player who's been in the system 8 years. Okay, and same with your 50 to 100 bracket. Ralph Smith and Miller are the only two, whereas the league average is 23%, which is, around 5 players in that bracket. Contract cliff, who you guys need to sign or you think about signing into the next year. These are you guys that are out of contract this year. Pretty good chunk of your backline. You're going to want to sign, or I don't think you really need to trade them. They've just going to have to make a decision if they're going to play on. Broad and Vlosten, I'm looking at here. Same with Lynch and Prestia. Your most locked-in player, he's Bolter. He's signed in for 2032. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. These guys are signed on to 2029. Cumming and Grill, because to their first rounders, they get 3-year contracts. Every other pick after the first rounder goes just 2 years for a rookie, and then pretty much the last year's draft class plus Short, Banks, and Brown signed on for 2027. Okay, top 10 picks. Pretty much in all the important spots. Lawler is going to end up in the midfield eventually. Cumming, obviously, and Grill haven't played a game there from this year. Gibcus a few years back, and Vlosten way back when in 2012. How was he? Did we go into this one? I can't remember. Yes, we did. So that's the makeup of the team. Most of your picks have come in, between 10 and 30, really. Pretty much all your players came in from the national draft. You got 3 players from a rookie draft. One father-son prospect in Rioli. Okay. Average height of the best 23 is 189 centimeters, which is about average. The league average is 188.5. Okay. These are all those guys that fall in that bracket. You've got no one on this field that is above 200 centimeters, which is lower than everyone else. How high is Nank? Nank's 199 centimeters. Okay. So we'll go into the club details. I'll show you the list depth. The other 2 options for your ruck are Samson Ryan and Ollie Haynes. Samson Ryan's played 25 games. Oliver Haynes Brown hasn't played any. They're 200 centimeters bigger. I'll go through them in a moment when we get through the rest of the club. Okay. This is your depth chart, your backs, mids, forwards, your bench, and then depth, who you think would be coming in as far organised by games played. Jack Ross is the next more experienced player coming through. Who your pressure players are, who lays the most tackles, Taranto, McAuliffe, and Ross. All laying around 4 tackles game. Same with Nank, actually, which is really good for ruckman. Okay, and then you can see your draft where your players got picked up. As you can see here, this is that awesome draft that you guys had in 2024 last year. All early guys. This is most of them in your starting 23. As you can see, a lot of these guys that aren't in the 23 are later draft picks. All in that top area. The higher you go up on that y-axis, basically indicates your chances of finding your way into the best 23. Okay. Now, let's go back to, let's start filling out the rest of the squad, okay? We'll reset that view. And then next up, we got the depth players. We got the emergencies. We'll bring up the emergencies and then the depth players, okay? So for emergency, I've gone with Green, Steely Green, 25 games at 21 years of age. He's a smaller forward, under 180 centimetres, less than a goal a game. Taj Houghton, I do think he's going to find. I feel bad about taking him off. He should be on the field somewhere, I think. It was just finding him a spot and trying to have a good blend of everything. He came in late last year. Would you average 13 touches a game, three marks and 2 tackles. Very good player, and I think he's got a lot of upside. Good chance he's going to find his way on the ground. If there was a player who I'd bring on in that starting 23, it'd be Houghton. And Mansell as well, 73 games. Sort of felt like he came out of nowhere last year. Played a really good season. More depth. He was a train on SSP player back in 2021. All right, now we'll get into the depth of the Tigers roster. It's going to be divided into 3 categories. Primary list, which is effectively these guys are paid the same. They might be more established players, players that have been in the system 4 or 5 years potentially. You got your Category A rookies and your Category Bs. They just get paid a little bit less. Category Bs are from other pathways, which might be a Gaelic Irish player or a basketballer, cricketer, those type of things. If you guys wanted to get the app, of course, and just go into you get a little bit more information. I've got little pop-ups here, how the primary list money works, how the total payment, and basically these are the depth spots, pretty much the same as the guys on the field. They just can't crack the best 23 at the moment. Category A, tighter budget. They're paid a little bit less than the main list. I can show you that in a sec. And Category B, of course, it's the same. We can go into that under the club details at the very bottom. I don't know if you can see me. Let me show you down here. I've got a CBA compliance list to make sure all these teams are CBA compliant. CBA stands for Collective Bargaining Agreement. I'll show you that. I've got a link here. It's a public source. It's online. You can find it at the Players Association website. The current collective bargaining agreement has run for the 4 years. We're about the middle range here. It's running from 2023 to 2027. So a few things have obviously changed along the way. It's a 190-page document. It's a big monster. It's all a lot of legalese in there, a lot of jargon you don't really want to know. But if you go to page 57, I found that quite interesting, going through all the financial side of it. Okay, so here you've got all your salary caps for each year. This year we're entering 2026, which is a salary cap there. This is the total number after. They had divided it into substitute player value, but we've got no subs as of this year, thankfully. So each club's going to have 18.3 mil effectively to spend on their players. You can see here, senior match players. So these are your base players. They're going to be paid base salary of 150 grand. This doesn't count for everyone. They're going to have agents and that are going to barter their own contract. 150k is your base salary. This is the minimum payments effectively, and 5 grand per game. So let's assume you play 20 games. Every player on that list is looking at 250k for the year. I'd say that'd be XGST. Nice round numbers like that. Base tiers per pick. Obviously it changes. This was back in 23 and 24. We're more looking at the 24 to 27 bracket. Okay. Your base salary gets changed a little bit depending on what pick you went at. So Cumming and Grill, for instance, got picked up in the top 10. They're going to be at about 145 with a 4 grand to another 80 grand. What's that? Let's assume they play 20 games, 145 plus 80, 225 for the year, assuming they get a perfect season. Same deal again. They'll get I believe this is the bonuses. Yeah. It's an incentive. So if you play that 20 games, it's another 60. Oh, sorry, this is 25. So yeah, there you go. Another 55 on 20. So you're already up near around 300k for the year. If you win your Brownlow in your first year. So he's got all these bits and pieces here. It's all pretty interesting stuff. You win a Brownlow in your first year. Let's say Cumming wins it, picks up another 50k. Plus, he'll probably pick up the Rising Star and more or less an All-Australian, you'd think. Okay, so it's pretty interesting stuff. I did a bit of a deep dive and went through it, so I've given you that link there. Okay, let's get back into it. Sorry about the ramble. Let's go into club details. Where are we? There we go. Okay, so primary list. First cab. I've basically tried to rank these a little bit and who I think are the most safe for this year. So Puka is a rookie. They've just drafted him. They're not going to get rid of him this year. He's going to get a couple of years to make his way onto the main list. Roberts Thompson, same deal. I've just organised him. He's just a later draft pick. A little bit less draft capital has been spent between the two. As you can see, rookies have got the combine jerseys on. Sorry, I forgot to show you if any All-Australian. So Tom Lynch is the only All-Australian on the roster at the moment. Well, not on the roster, on the starting 23. Okay, and a few players have moved around from. You got Taranto, basically your engine room. You've recruited from other teams, and your full forward. I think I've shown you what I can there. So Ross is next man up, 93 games. Very unlucky not to fall in any of these positions. Good chance he does. I've probably got one of these guys wrong. It's just how I would start the season off, assuming that everyone is healthy. Spilly as well, an early draft pick. I think he's pick 7. There you go. Couldn't get his body together. I think he's already injured again this year, so not great signs there. But he was dominating in his junior years. Samson Ryan, he's that other ruckman I was saying. So when Nate goes down, he might be an option to play ruck for him. One of the tallest on the entire roster. In fact, I think he is the tallest on the roster. Sims as well, another early draft pick out of that big bunch that you guys took in 2024. Hadn't quite established himself, but in saying that, he played 3 more games than Armstrong. I've just gone with Armstrong with this makeup. McAuliffe, Algier as well. That's another one of those 2024 draft picks. Fawcett, 1 game, 197 centimeters and 20. This is make or break for this guy this year. He's been on the roster for 2 years now. Managed 1 game. I think his roster spot is on the bubble, if anything. If he doesn't train the house down, get on the field and establish himself, it's going to be hard seeing them signing him on, especially if they need to clear out 3 roster spots to enter next year's draft. You're going to think that a team like Richmond are going to want to be in that draft. Every team usually does anyway, but we got Tasmania on the way as well. So Judson Clark, another one. He's played a few more games, been in the system a bit more. He's out of contract. I'll show you who's out of contract so far. All these guys need to get signed at some point this year or get delisted at the end of the year, okay? Category A rookie, Rechko. I believe he was the trade this year, coming in from Geelong. The Foul, trained on SSP. He's out of contract this year, so he's trained on. He's got 11 games. He's kind of seen a bit of game time. Campbell Gray, 3 games, age 22. These guys are all kind of on the outside looking in. Really want to start locking in a spot. Tyler Sonzi, 40 games, 22. I think he'll be fine. I've only put him in here because this bracket, this little DCA4 was indicating to me that you guys haven't actually got many rookie players taken in rookie drafts. These guys in front of the that green disc here, which is category A, 4th slot, they're all your rookie draft players. But Smith and Sonzi are still national draft. So really they should be on the main list. I'll bump them up a couple of extra picks. They should really be there. So it's kind of just a way that the club is paid. National draft players go onto the primary list where rookie draft player will go onto the rookie list and so on. Okay. Category B rookie is Hayes Brown. To my knowledge, he's been there last year, 2024, and you've only got the one Category B player, to my knowledge. Okay, you got 2 roster spots empty. Got a couple of train-on players to sign on. That is Richmond's current squad as it stands today. We'll go through it all. So I went through the best 23 with you earlier. Let's now look at your total club depth. Now, 440 is a lot more closer to the league average, 440 disposals amongst them on average per game, between 465. Okay, goals 13.3 versus 16.9. Tackles, you're way low down on 68.8 versus 82.3. Marks, roughly the same, 117, 118, and a lot more hit-outs than the rest of the league. You got 40% in your development stage, which is higher than the league average of 35. So you got a younger squad than everyone else. Your early prime years are roughly the same as everyone else. Your 26 to 29-year-olds are a little less than everyone else, and you've got about the same amount of old dudes as everyone else. Everyone's got 5. Okay, 0 to 10 games is going to demonstrate the exact same thing. Most of your team is in the 11 to 50 game range. Okay, so these are the guys on the outside looking in. These guys have established themselves. A lot of the time that ends up working hand in hand with being an early draft pick. All right. As far as your contract cliff goes, you're looking at 21 players out of contract at the end of the year. All these guys here. Okay. You'd think they would focus on the ones they value the most, especially in the depth list, and then maybe start talking to some of these older guys about thinking about calling it a day. Next year, these are the 15. I apologise if you can hear my son. He's starting to wake up. I might need to pause this video in a moment. That's your out of contract in 2027. Your longest tenured player signed up is Bolter, and you got another 3 in Hopper, Taranto, Campbell to provide you a bit more stability. Your top 10 draft picks are all here. Smilly's only on the bench because we haven't really seen him play just yet. Most of your players have come from the national draft. These are your 5 players from your rookie draft. 2 supplemental selection period walk-ons in Mansell and Lafleur, and a Category B rookie. Okay, you've only got 1 pathway player, which is a Rioli, a father-son selection. Okay, your 2 players in over 2 meters. Everyone else roughly the same. Most of the league's got 5 players in that 200 centimeter tall range. We'll go through club details. So I've shown you that. As you can see, a few early picks back from 26 to 2010, and then a whole heap of them the last 3-4 years. So they still need another few years to pop, and I think Richmond are going to be a real force. I think you guys are probably ahead of your rebuild in comparison to West Coast. I'm a West Coast supporter, by the way. But yeah, I think you guys are looking good. If you guys wanted to get the app, I just wanted to show you. I've got every draft that's gone through since 2025 all the way back to Pendlebury. It's got, as long as you're an active player in the league this year, you'll be featured in these drafts. There's Pendlebury at 425 games from 20 years ago. Guy just keeps on keeping on. You know, Tex Walker and Dangerfield are the next more established players. You know what I mean? So we can go through that. Let's have a look at the overview when you want to compare them to the rest of the league. Just realised I just had me out. That's all right. I don't need to be in here anyway. You don't need to see my rude head. Where are we? Richmond, 23. So you're the 3rd youngest squad. As far as your best 23, you're the 6th youngest. I think that's more brought up by your older players. As I said, it's a few older than usual. Prime age share, 17th. You've got the most players under 20 in their starting lineup, and 4th most over 30. Okay. Contracts, as I went through before, you can just compare them to everyone else. You've got 2026 in your best 23. you got 10 not signed, which is a lot more than most other teams. Everyone's, as you can see, everyone's around the 6, 7, 5, 6, 5. Oh, Gold Coast got 9. But yeah, Richmond have got the least amount of starting players signed for next year. Oh, after next year, sorry. Talents mix. Richmond are the 5th tallest side. They've got the fewest talls in the entire league. Tenure map, 9 players over 100, which is roughly a little bit less than everyone else. And you got 5 players in the 0 to 20 range. If we look at the squad as a whole, you still got the fewest talls. You're the 9th tallest squad, and 9 players up over 100 games. Same deal. You don't really have too many players over 100 on your bench. So, and then we've got the pathway boost. So Richmond are one of the least affected clubs affected by the pathway. They've only got one father-son, which affects 2.4% of your roster. In comparison to Brizzy and Gold Coast, they've got 27.3%. And here I've just got a few other random stats picked up. Most common name, for instance, is Jack. As you can see, Payne, Ison, Buller, Jack Critters, Jack Bowers, Jack Henry, Jack Martin. All this random stuff I've just thrown in there for anyone that finds it interesting. As usual, just want to give you guys a reminder to like and subscribe, become a member, and you can use this app for yourself. You can put together your Rolling All Australian. I'm going to use that throughout the year. Check back in on the channel, and we can discuss who we think's the Rolling All Australian at the moment. I do apologise. I'm going to wrap this up to try and organise him. And I've got the State of Origin as well. I've also populated it with who has been named so far. Kind of auto assigns them based on where they're listed for their current club. So obviously, Luke Jackson's not a winger. You'd think he would be bench or ruck with Darcy Cameron. Bay could be a half-back flank. Shy Bolton half forward, maybe Cameron and Pickett up front with Hogan and Norton. But I think that's looking like a pretty good side for WA. But the Victorian team is unreal. Darcy Cameron, Sam Darcy, Jeremy Cameron, Toby Green up forward, Gawn, Anderson. I put Josh Dacos at the back, Zach Butters. Actually, I think it's Nick Dacos. I've populated that wrong. I'll have to fix that. Sinclair, Stewart, Wiedering, Rao, Cameron. And you'd have Bont in the middle there as well. Maybe Rao in the centre and McCluggage, maybe half forward flanker. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at the moment. Yeah. So if you guys could just, obviously I hope you enjoyed the video. I think Richmond got another year of rebuilding going forward, but I think they're definitely on the way up. So if you guys could just like and subscribe, check back in. I'm going to be doing an episode like this for each of the 18 clubs. I hope you enjoyed it. Become a member and you can use this app for yourself. I'm going to make it available shortly after Chrissy, maybe early New Year. See how we go. But yeah, cheers. Have a good day. See ya.